Scott, absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me. Really excited to talk about my favorite subject.
We are excited to have you. So most of our listeners know who you are. They know the backstory. It's well documented out there on multiple podcasts and interviews. But I want to take it to a point where you were looking for financial freedom. I know you found Mr. Money Mustache. You stumbled across 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. You're working at Dish Network at the time. And it sounds like you're at a networking event and you run into Josh Dorkin. And that's where the original BP connection happens. Talk to us a little about the first time you guys met. And it sounds like it was it took you a couple asks to try to get involved there. It wasn't just yep, come on board. So tell our listeners a little of the oral history there, how that all came together.
Yeah, well, the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 podcast encourages you to meet local real estate investors, which as it should. That's a really powerful way to network and learn your local market. So I joined a mastermind group of local real estate investors, and one of them invited me out to, or I invited each one of them actually in turn out to lunch. One of them told me, come by my co-working space where my office is headquartered, and then we'll go to lunch from there. And at that co-working space is where I saw the 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 logo and realized that must be Josh Dorkin recording the podcast from that room over there. And so I banged on a door, and I think he was in the middle of something. And so he told me to go away a few times. Or told me to go away. And so I did, but I was still starstruck. And then I followed up a few more times. And eventually I think he was thinking about expanding the operation at 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 at the time. And so I imagine that while I was slightly annoying for a few calls, the fact that I was already a listener, already familiar with the business, cheap, all those kinds of things made me a attractive person for him to talk to in the end. So I probably overplay how annoyed he was those first few times, and probably don't give him enough credit of he was probably happy that someone like me was beating down his door because he needed somebody like me at that time.
Yeah. So that's 2014 timeframe, correct?
That's right. That's June, July, somewhere in there.
So, and Mark, I know your episode with 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 aired in 2014. So I'm just going to go ahead and add to the story that he was recording Mark's episode when you went and knocked on the door.
That's right. Yeah, that's probably how it went.
Scott, first podcast I ever recorded was with 𝗥𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. And it was only because I had the persistence to bother Brandon Turner. Not so much in a way like put me on your podcast, but just kind of drill him with questions. And he's like, hey, why don't you come on? You'd be interested. So that's how I ended up on there. But
those early episodes, they still get really good downloads. So people go back and listen to all of the hundreds. I guess we have over 1,000 cumulative episodes across all the podcasts now. And people who here have listened to all of them.
Yeah, it's huge for our SEO. I know that.